welcome to the Meadow and Hawk Collective. This is going to be kind of a special video as I'm filming it on January 6th. I thought this would be a fun little time to honor, I believe it's a Celtic holiday called the Day of the Triple Goddess, which is the day that we celebrate the goddess in her maiden, mother, and crone forms. And if you're not familiar, these are just kind of like age-old, kind of transcending time, place, language, and they kind of have to do with the feminine impulse within creation, and not really having to do with gender per se, but kind of this mythos around the heroine's journey within men and women, and kind of this impulse towards these natural life and death cycles. In the maiden, we kind of see this youthful spring energy where things are new, and kind of budding with potential, but with that also kind of this potential for overwhelm and feeling kind of scattered. And then when we move into the mother, this kind of like grounding, this distillation, this kind of act of pressing something together to bringing something more into center, with the season of summer and kind of this expression, this quality of abundance. And then moving into the crone, which also has many names, including like the maga, the wise woman, the elder, this kind of like autumn winter phase of life where we're kind of cutting away the excess, quieting things down so that we can actually hear what is true, which our culture kind of has a difficult relationship with the crone. And so in this special video, I'm actually gonna do something where you're gonna get to pick which of these three aspects of the goddess you're resonating with today, and then kind of using that as to get a more specific collective that I can read into the energy and hopefully provides a loving perspective to help you navigate whatever time you're in. Again, this is like a timeless reading, so whatever you find it is perfect. And so you can kind of just take a deep breath with me and kind of notice the space that you're in, the temperature of the air as it brushes against your skin, and really kind of feeling into the impulses within as you look at the imagery of the cards that I'm about to show you and kind of feel into whatever decision is right for you. And there's not a right or a wrong. It's whatever's coming up for you. So we have the maiden, as well as the pyrite stone. I believe that's pyrite, aka like fool's gold. So we have the maiden and pyrite. And then we have the mother. So just taking a deep breath. You can go off of the imagery of the card or just kind of like a general feeling you get. And then we also have the malachite, the mother and malachite. And you can always pause those kind of still frames if you want to meditate on it further to feel into the card that's right for you. And finally, we have the crone as well as the jasper. Beautiful. Okay, so let's get into it. So welcome if you chose, and I'm also gonna have timestamps in the description below so you can kind of speed forward if you wish. You can also watch all of them, maybe you'll find even more messages, but so you can fast forward to whichever of the collectives you chose. Beautiful. Okay. So to begin, welcome to the meadow, or not the meadow, the maiden collective within the Meadow and Hawk Collective. So some archetypes that I pulled, that I kind of shuffled as I was tuning into your energy, are the prayer. The river also came out with the prayer, which is kind of beautiful to think about. And then I also pulled some different oracle cards from several different decks. So we have Shakti, the goddess of transformation. Beautiful. We also have compassion with the archangel Zadkiel. Ooh, some crazy glare there. And then we also have this beautiful card called, it says Begin Again. You can't really read it with the glare. Let me actually try to turn that a little bit down so you can see that a little better. Beautiful. Okay. So when I'm sitting with your energy, it feels like there's an enormous amount of movement in your life. Like with the visual with the river, it feels like you're at a point where there's an element of uncertainty here, that's not quite the right word, there's an element of flux is what I want to say. And it's not really a time of your life where you can rely too much on the appearance of things. And when I say that, I think about how pyrite often, fool's gold. There's an element of something shiny that may or may not be something of value, or it could be something of value in its own way. So by not defining it in a certain way. And so I feel like if I were to apply that to like a life, what I want to think about and what I want to share about is there's an element of something in your life that once you give it more freedom to kind of flow and kind of open up and kind of let go of the tendency to name something as something, it might surprise you by what it turns out to be. So for example, a relationship that once you let go of the label of whatever label it is, like friend, partner, like there's an element of flux that's wanting to come in, and once you let go of a label, something might actually become something else, which is really cool. Like I'm feeling into with this Maiden collective, there's a huge element of alchemy and the capacity to, with transformation, to kind of stand at the helm of your life in the Maiden energy and go on this kind of, like there's this quest element I'm feeling into here. And potentially within the past few months, you've been moving through a bit of what feels like a darker, denser energy, which of course is not bad. There's a necessary place for darkness in the spaces of our lives, but moving through a tricky, potentially kind of like I'm getting like with the myth of the goddess Inanna, like the necessity and kind of being forced, being pushed to kind of strip off all that you are not, to kind of strip off all of the garments of kind of like taking off the labels and the kind of, that can be tricky for all of us when all of our egos don't really like to be kind of stripped in that way. And because we often come to the prayer like the necessity of being brought to our knees by something because something has been really hard for a long time. But with the river here within this collective, there's an enormous amount of, I just keep wanting to say change and flux, and things are fluid and they're moving, and there's so much protection here. With the owl imagery too, there's a lot of wisdom coming in, like you're learning something in this mythic chapter, this phase, this journey of your life, where if you can't see it right now, this is just your message that you've been going through a lot of growth, and maybe you're kind of in that phase where you've stepped out of the chrysalis or the cocoon and looking around and feeling like you've outgrown something. Like I'm getting a feeling, and I'm reminded of the image of Alice in Alice in Wonderland, where she, like everything is too small, like everything is shrunk, and she's just like looking through the door and it's teeny tiny. And so just, this is your trust that to begin again. And I'm also gonna read the specific message from this oracle deck because it's beautiful and I cannot capture it as well as the book does. So let me just tune into your energy a little bit more, and I'm gonna start shuffling the tarot for the Maiden collective. So I wanna know this new, exciting, this beginning, or it's like seeing an old situation through new eyes. There's an element like with the Maiden here, it's like our eyes are wide open and we are seeing things with new eyes and kind of looking around. So I want to kind of find out, what has the Maiden collective been moving through these past, I want to say 2 months, this experience that has brought them to the prayer and the healing of the river. And with the river too, like the necessity of releasing some tears. So this is your permission too, if there's an emotion that you've been kind of feeling like you've been running from or wanting to kind of tune out. For a lot of you, this is relationships that maybe didn't work out the way you had hoped. Yeah, okay. Yeah, there's an element of like poignant waiting here in this collective, I want to say. Like it's kind of like this expectant energy of, and an enormous, because the High Priestess came out for you, an element of mystery here, and like sitting in the dark and kind of being willing to see beyond the veils, but also like the element of the mystery as that the veils will only part when they're also ready. Like it's a two-way relationship of the person is kind of, with the prayer, they're coming to a connection with the divine, ready, like show me, like use me as a vehicle of the divine or love, or show me what's real. But then there's also the dynamic of the other side, the High Priestess, the force, the void that we're communing with, that is also has a role in terms of its intelligence and its agency and its capacity to respond to the call. That feels important. It feels like you've made a call, maybe. So if you've kind of put out a feeler in some capacity, or sent out a message, or put in an inquiry, or you inquired into something and are waiting for an answer in some way. And it feels kind of raw. It feels like it was a very vulnerable thing to do for some people in this Maiden collective. And it's like you're waiting, this like poignant, magic, dark waiting period. Waiting with the Four of Cups. What are you? I'm curious what you guys are waiting for. Feels like an answer, a response, like someone to like be at the other end of the line and kind of give you some sort of, give you something, And then I also pulled the Empress as well as the Knight of Wands, both in the reverse position. Yeah, it feels like some sort of expectation. What I was saying again at the beginning of this reading, it's like when you let go of the expectation of how something should be, it has the freedom to morph into what it wants to become. And so it's like once we, for some people it feels like it's like specifically like a longing for some sort of romantic thing, but then it wants to become something else, like a friendship or something. So being, just sitting with this intention to see things for what they want to become. What is on the other side of this veil? What's on the other side of the veil for the tongue twister, the Maiden collective within the Meadow and Hawk? Ooh, letting something change. Wow. With the goddess Shakti coming through in your collective, and the Tower in the reverse position, it's like there's a huge element of surrender here and letting something, giving yourself permission to begin again. Coming through this kind of difficult period of kind of disappointing letdowns, feeling like you need to force things to happen. There's kind of like a forced surrender here, which sounds frightening, but it's not. It's very protected. But it's like letting go of the reins and letting go of the reins. What is wanting to fall out of the lives of that was right there. The Wheel of Fortune in reverse. Yeah, the message here is to trust the cycle that you're in that there's an immense, really exciting new beginning coming for you. It's a really exciting one, and it's one that is gonna leave you with a lot of gifts to offer and being able to serve other people. So I don't know if it's like someone's gone through a specific experience and then is gonna write like a memoir about it, or begin teaching on the subject, or begin counseling others. Like, and this is just feels like it's been a big theme in your life in general, of going through these kind of like flux, these big periods of flux where a lot falls out of your life, and so that you can kind of begin again and then give the wisdom that you've been given through whatever kind of tough lesson that you have been through. Beautiful. So in closing out your reading, beautiful Maiden Collective, I'm gonna read your oracle card, which is Begin Again. Okay. Beautiful. But feel free to comment below if any of this is resonating for you. Begin again. This card represents a reset, joy, and an identity shift. I feel that for sure. Okay. Strong wings have carried you to this new day. At this height, you can see farther than before and smell fresh scents in the cool air. This card is infused with that fueling and fleeting glow of early morning. In this light, you are doing what you weren't able to do before, what once felt impossible. Spread your wings and bask in how good it feels. Begin again shows you a fresh start, a bold new beginning that is already in motion. Honor the parts of you that see further, are willing to take risks, and who feel capable to make big changes. You get to make new choices, heal old wounds, start new relationships. I felt that really strong. Leave bad situations, break out of the mundane, and move into the vastness of what is next. Here is your bright affirmation for saying yes to a new thing. Read literally, this card is cheerfully telling you to begin again. If you're asking a question through outdated or stale perspectives, it's time to see things differently and try a new approach. Wonder, and the attunement messages are wonder, fresh eyes, that's funny, the joy of the new, readiness to shake off the old, motivation to strike out in a new direction after an ending or dead end. Your wings are strong, the sun is warm, and you are made of courage and clear vision. So sending you guys a lot of love and support, and I'm just so excited for all of your new beginnings, beautiful Maiden Collective. Okay, moving in to the beautiful Mother Collective within the Maiden and Hot Collective. We have the Mother with the Malachite. Okay. Beautiful. The Mother Collective. Okay. So first I'm just gonna share some of the oracle cards that I pulled for you when I was feeling into your energy. And then we're just gonna flow with whatever message needs to come through for your collective, as well as maybe jump into the tarot. I feel like that felt really good for the Maiden Collective, so we're gonna also do that here. So the archetype that I pulled for you is the stone. Working with the energy of the stone. We also have life review with the Archangel Jeremiah. Take inventory of your life and resolve to change or heal anything that is unbalanced. We also have, for the goddess supporting you, we have the goddess Maat with truth in the Egyptian tradition. And then the oracle card that I pulled for you is the moon is always full. And immediately when I was feeling into your energy and pulling these cards, the word justice came really, really strong into mind. And so potentially in your life, there is clarity, and you're seeing into old life dynamics in your life, patterns, tendencies, addictions, I want to say, interesting, addictions, compulsions, impulses. You're getting a lot of insight into them, and this is there's a fierce energy coming through with life review of you're being gifted clarity, and maybe even if you have an animal or a guide or an ancestor who you feel particularly connected with, this is your confirmation that they're working with you to clear out something that has been ready to be let go of for a long, long, long time. You're being supported to rise above something and to move something that hasn't moved in a long, long, long time. And this might come out initially, there's the potential to be this energy of lashing out. When I think about the archetype of the mother and this tendency to give. So if you notice that you're in a time of your life where you've been giving and scattering your attention everywhere but yourself, and tending to all of these other people, making sure their needs are met, there's a way that when we come back into integrity and the pendulum swings towards center and towards balance and towards harmony and equilibrium and true generosity of giving, which requires that we're also giving, of course, to ourselves, and receiving also. There's an element of receiving. It's natural for when you're being made aware of how things are not in alignment with how you want them to be, when this sword of truth, feather of justice comes in, it's okay to temporarily feel like you're lashing out. And of course we want to temper that, bring that into the core of our hearts, and get in touch with if we're in or out of integrity with acting in a certain way. Because there is a very in integrity grounded way of stating a boundary. And so this is your permission right now to see the truth of something. And of course, first that involves acknowledging to yourself how you really feel about something and how you wish it was different. Also being able to see how beautiful something is in your life and how much you really desire more of it. Yeah, with the stone, working with a lot of really old energies here and clearing very, very old, kind of cemented, but also powerful. So the energy of the stone is also magic. With the energy of malachite, I'm also thinking of like the energy of the heart. The heart, so your heart is going through a process of kind of sweeping, like I'm seeing someone sweeping off like a really dusty old room. And so there's a process where your heart is kind of coming awake and alive to something that maybe has been dormant for a long, long time. So I'm gonna start shuffling the tarot for you guys, the beautiful Mother Collective. Okay, I wanna find out more what is being swept out of the heart and then what you're kind of what you're moving into, what you're calling in. Spirit, what is being swept out of the Mother Collectives, their hearts, their lives? What are they letting go of, and what is being invited to be surrendered? Thank you. The Emperor. Wow, the Emperor with the stone. This is some like old, like this authority figure energy. Some of us are working with father wounds, I will say, in the Mother Collective, which is kind of interesting. What is being let go of? What is for the Mother Collective? That's interesting that I was talking about like the Sword of Truth. We have the Five of Swords in the reverse position. So it's also like coming to terms with, there's a lot of people in this collective who are feeling exhausted with having to fight or to have so many boundaries all the time. And just like that feels very confronting. Like, why are there so many people in my life who I have to have such strong boundaries against? Like there is this deep exhaustion here of needing to put up walls and be right and defend the territory. And so maybe for some people in this collective, there's someone like living with you or something, or you're giving a lot and not getting a lot in return. And living with you in the sense that maybe like the cycle for it has closed, but you're out of the kindness of your heart, like sheltering someone who's ready to stand on their own. That's only for a few people, I feel. Yeah, like you're really doing a beautiful thing right here, is you're kind of living into this active balance. That word balance is coming up again. How to create more equilibrium and balance in your life. And you're really being supported by like I want to say a high council. Interesting, a high council of like spiritual guardianship, of initiating you into a new level of strength and a new level of calling out corrupt authorities, whether that's literally in your life or within your own psyche, of kind of dismantling this old like patriarchal let-in view of seeing the world. And this kind of like having to fight, like this kind of like approach to seeing life as kind of like a battle, or life having to be hard, or this kind of like dog eat dog approach is kind of falling out of your life. And there's like a softer, more gentle approach that's coming in. The Mother and the Malachite Collective, what is wanting to come into their lives? The Mother Collective, please. What is wanting to come through them? Okay. So 4 cards wanted to come out. Let me share them with, 5 cards. Oh, interesting. It's like there was a period. It's kind of like the energy of like kind of where we are in the year of like moving out of the holidays. And there's some element of this Mother Collective that's really, I kind of like this energy. It's kind of like enough with the bullshit. And it's like, okay, we had fun, but now it's time to like clean things up. Like it's the energy of like the person at the end of the party who's like shaking out the rugs and it's like, okay, like I need to get shit back in order. Like that was fun. Like we had our fun, but there's an element of like, let me turn down this light because the glare is a little aggressive. there's an element of like, there we go. Okay, let me tune into your energy one more time. I kind of lost the thread. Yeah, cleaning something up. Something in the kind of like, something is being cleaned up. And then the other 3 cards that I pulled were the King of Pentacles, Death, and Strength. It's like, and this might, for some of us in this collective, be actually mirrored in the external world with the death of certain men in your life. I don't know if it's like a father or a grandfather, an uncle, or even just potentially even like a teacher from early in life for a very few amount of people, where it's like a teacher from that kind of represented a certain, or there's a person who represented a certain ideology that's either dying, or it's an internal process where you're kind of doing a lot of inner healing work around the masculine and kind of coming to this like more, being able to see the hardship and the challenge of life not as punishment, but as the means by which, in addition to the beautiful, positive, fun experiences of life, have seated you within your own wisdom. And so I feel like for this collective, you guys are at a point where you're really realizing how far you've come, and this like beautiful alchemy process of death to strength. Like, wow, that's powerful. That's really, really powerful. And I think to close your reading, I'm going to read the kind of the message for this oracle card, because it's just a stunning deck. So the moon is always full. The moon is always full with the King of Pentacles. Is like, this is your permission to be seated in the wisdom that you have acquired up until now. And this also kind of came out with the Maiden collective, being confident in your ability to stand as a teacher, or I want to say a beacon for others in terms of what you've moved through, what you've transmuted, what you've alchemized with the stone. I think about like the Philosopher's Stone. But also this is just also like, I see you and moving through a lot of really kind of tough energy. Let's see. This moon is always full. Okay, beautiful. So this card represents wholeness, cycles, and you are here. With the sliver of this moon shining brightly, we also see its shadowy hole. A reminder that as the moon waxes and wanes in our sky, it is always entirely intact. That feels important for if you've been through an experience that feels like it's kind of demolished you in some capacity, or wrecked you, or made you less than what you used to be, you are still whole. Like the moon, you have your own phases and cycles, times of waxing and waning, of brightness and darkness. And like the moon, you never lose your wholeness. There is a gorgeous optimism in this card that reminds you of what exists beyond our limited perspective, how we shape ourselves through time, through process, and through returning. Working with this card, you're invited to unfragment your experiences, find the thread that weaves together your many ways of being. So I would I feel like a lot of people in this collective would feel called to a process of speaking aloud or writing all that you have just moved through, and I feel like it's going to help you find some sort of common thread that's been there your whole life. Like there's a real like waking up to some element of purpose here. You're being called into non-judgmental noticing of your mood, your capacity, your hopes, your disappointments, and whether you feel that you're at the beginning or the end of a cycle. The moon card counsels a bigger picture, a larger container for all that you are holding. Find your way towards your own sense of being intact. Another dimension of this card involves cultivating the patience and trust required to work with cycles. Even though something may not come to pass right now or even soon, it may in time. So to bring this energy into attunement, claim yourself as you are. Let go of your need to be shiny and bright and tend to what is in the shadows. Treat your body like a wise elder. Seek refuge in cycles. A fuller experience awaits you in the ripeness of time. So I would just, yeah, be gentle with yourself this time as a lot is being revealed to you. There's kind of like a gentle force. There's like a lot of things in the external world feel really harsh for you right now, in the sense that like when the light, like the winter light falls on something, the shadows are stark, and it's kind of like you're in the light and you're warm-ish, and then you're in the shadow and you're cold as crap. So there's like there's an element of contrast right now, but the contrast in your life is leading you towards experience yourself as a being of greater wholeness. So sending you a lot of love, the beautiful Mother Collective, and have a beautiful day. Okay. Welcoming the final collective of this reading, the CRONE, the beautiful CRONE with the jasper crystal. If you chose this archetype as your reading, this is your reading. So first, I'm going to kind of share some of the oracle cards that I pulled when I was tuning in to your energy. And then we're also going to kind of pull some tarot cards to get some more refined messages for the CRONE collective. So the archetype that I pulled for the CRONE is the Pilgrim, which is kind of fascinating. The Pilgrim. I pulled the the oracle card, Supported. And at the end of this reading, I will share the specific message from the book of this deck. We also have Beloved One. I'm helping you with your spiritual soulmate relationship with the Archangel Chamuel. And then we also have Death and Magic with the the Goddess Morgan. The Goddess Morgan. Beautiful. Okay. I'm just gonna kind of clear up some of the oracle cards from the last reading. Beautiful to kind of fully drop into your energy. So the CRONE collective, it feels like you're being invited to take a leap of faith, whether that's a literal with the Pilgrim. This archetype can sometimes be more of a literal voyage, odyssey in the external world, where we're like traveling somewhere with the intention of healing or investigating or exploring or becoming awake to a certain aspect of self. Like I'm thinking about like the Camino de Santiago in Europe, and other sacred pilgrimages. So if you're being called, this is also a little confirmation for you to go to that place, to kind of take that leap and to put yourself in the realm of nascent possibility of what wants to be experienced for you in this lifetime. With the Goddess Morgan and Death and Magic, wow. Like you've closed a lot of really old cycles, and now you're being invited to kind of jump in this, to kind of pivot, to kind of run in this new direction. And in this change, for some of you, for a lot of you, it might be literal travel in the outer world. You're wanting to learn about something new. You're wanting to go somewhere. You're wanting to kind of, this quest feels really loud. You're being supported in it. You're being supported. Oh, and there's an element too where it's like you're bridging some sort of divide here. Like the imagery in these cards, there's a lot of emphasis on the hands, like doing this motion. And then also like there's two rocks and they're being bridged. Like you're bridging something at this time. You're moving from one state to another and you're taking this really brave, bold leap. This step that feels really essential to kind of realizing some aspect of your soul that maybe you haven't fully tapped into yet. So the CRONE collective with the Jasper. Where are the CRONE collective? Where are they leaping from? What is the space they currently occupy in their lives? Wow, a lot of cards just came out. And where are they being invited to go with the energy of the Pilgrim with support? Wow. For some, that's kind of random, but for some of you, there's a silent retreat or something, or like Vipassana, like a more literal kind of retreat experience. I'm definitely feeling into that. Wow, okay. You're being invited to trust in love, whatever it is. You're more, you're like regaining your confidence in a certain way, like where you're, right, there's a lot of cards, and some of these were also in the Mother Collective, so if you were kind of also drawn to the Mother pile, maybe there's a message in that for you as well. So I pulled the Emperor with Death, with, let's see, just the 8. Yes, the 8 of Swords. You've really done a shit ton. You've moved through a lot. And I want to be the person that sees you for that. We have Temperance in the reverse position. We also have the Queen of Pentacles and the 7 of Pentacles in the reverse position. Okay, so it feels like you've transmuted a lot of this energy of lack for a lot of you, or like there was a situation that looked really dire, but like you changed something about your approach or how you viewed it, and it suddenly became abundant. Or if this has not happened yet, this is going to happen in the next like 3 months, where there's a thing where you're taking something that's kind of barren and you're kind of mentally in a cage, like locked into seeing something as inherently bad or wrong. And then there's a sudden shift where you start just embodying this energy where you're able to like nurture something back to life. Like there's a real like, with the goddess Morgan, there's a real like resurrection energy here, where it's like you have the power, if you want to see something flourish. Like I'm thinking again of that hand motion of pressing something together. It's like you're bringing something back to life. And I don't know if that thing is you bringing yourself back to life. If there's an animal or a person where you're able to like be in this sacred midwife role. I still wanted to say rule. Interesting. Midwife role. So it's like you're seeing the lie that something is a rule, and you're being able to step beyond it, and then new things become possible because you're no longer seeing like the rule of entropy. Interesting. Like you're no longer thinking that something has to die, but you're embracing that it is dying, and so you're also making room for it to become what it wants to become and what it's transmuting into. Whoa, your energy feels magical. It feels deep. It feels like there's like a funnel I'm feeling right here. It's like this swirling energy around my third eye. So it's like you're seeing into something, and your new kind of shifted, higher, more true perspective of a situation is actually changing how it plays out, and all of the potentials for how it's becoming something. Interesting. You're working with a lot of powerful energies, and I will say there's an important message around remaining grounded with this kind of exciting energy of the Pilgrim, and then the kind of reassurance that you're being supported. A lot of this support comes like the energy of the triangle, making sure that something has a solid base. And if there's a lot of this like excitement, bubbly energy in the crone because something has died, and isn't that beautiful because there's so much space. Like I'm seeing like this open meadow where it's like maybe it's been felled, or there's been a burning here. Something has burned. For sure something has been burned with death. Something has been trampled. Something has been kind of crushed. But you're working with powerful energy at this time, and I want to make sure that you are remaining grounded in whatever way that I'm specifically feeling, like being in a situation like a shower or a bath in a daily way, and putting some salt in it, some protective energies, because I'm feeling for this collective that you're very psychically open at this time, and that can be kind of like destabilizing. Like I'm feeling my vision is going kind of wavy. Interesting. Yeah, it's like because you're seeing into a new dimension of something, it's like the body hasn't yet had time to catch up and to calibrate to your new level of consciousness or your way of seeing something. There's an importance too with supported around making sure that you're like regularly eating nourishing meals, taking time to disconnect from technology, and to rest, but while you're tuning into this kind of quest within. And I mean, that's crazy. We have the goddess death and magic, Morrigan, with the death card. Like, holy crap, and then, okay, let me slow my roll. And then the energy that I feel like the Crone collective with the Jasper is stepping into, we pulled the Tethered One or the Hanged Man. We pulled the Two of Cups in reverse, the Ace of Cups, and the Queen of Wands in their first position. So it's like you're getting back your confidence about something, or by not being confident in something because it's dead, you're interestingly getting a new level of faith and trust in yourself, that even when the outer world, when people disappoint you, when it's like there's a lot of people in this Crone collective are doing things where very, very soon there may be like a love counterpart coming in, I will say, with Beloved One, the Ace of Cups, and the Two. But it's like being open to love that you weren't expecting. Like the outside, like the wrapper, the vehicle of the love is something that you may have discounted in the past. Like it feels like something that has kind of been orbiting you for a long, long time. But I don't know if it's big things have died in your life, and that's not necessarily a bad or a scary thing, but it's like you're seeing your personal power in a whole new way. And yeah, and it's really beautiful and it's really exciting. I want to say that. I want to know what this Ace of Cups is about. For the Crone collective, what's this Ace of Cups? This Ace of Cups. Ace of Cups. It feels like to me, the Ace is like this cleansing force again with, I don't know if you're into like a cold plunge or something, or a more gentle equivalent to that, like I don't know, hot tubbing or going in a hot spring. It feels like this change is like, a lot of really, really old, long-standing cycles and chapters are closing, but part of you isn't sure if you're totally trusting or ready to let go of something. So a part of you kind of wants to leave the door open a little bit, where it's like, I'm going to shut the door, but I'm also going to leave a sign up that says, like, if you need to come in, come in. And there's an importance here around really, I don't know if you want to do like a cord cutting ritual, if this is like a specific person that's kind of latched into your consciousness in a stronger way. Yeah, like your mind is divided about something with the Ace, but the Ace is so pure, and it's like hearing a clear call within, where you're like, oh, like I immediately know, because this feeling washes over you. I don't know what this is it's probably different for a lot of people in this collective, but your mind is divided if you want to let go of it, or if you're ready to fully turn your cheek towards the new thing. And so in this kind of like vacillating, swirling third eye energy, you're seeing so many possibilities. And a lot of times you're seeing the possibilities in things from the past that are over. And so you're being supported with a lot of this, like these death, midwife, guardian archetypes and energies. You're being supported by them to kind of usher you through some of the darkest nights of your life, or the most poignant, chilling, interesting realizations. And you're being supported to fully close cycles here. Fully close them. And there's a lot of disappointment and grief here, honestly, with the 10 of Cups and the 6 of Cups in the reverse position, letting go of a certain dream or the way you thought something was going to be, like at the current point in your life. There's an essential point, I want to say, with the Crone archetype, where there's an inventory that we're taking of what I accomplished, what I didn't accomplish, what I accomplished that I wasn't expecting, or that I didn't even realize I accomplished because I completely overlooked it. And it's like there's something that you need to give yourself credit for, and something that you need to honor within yourself that you have done, that you aren't appreciating how important it is that you're doing it. You're doing something really important right now, but also, of course, that invitation to sit with, I'm not where I thought I would be, which can be a really tough thing to feel. Okay, so I'm gonna read your message from this deck, supported. But it feels like you guys are going on some exciting things. Like with the Pilgrim, if you guys are traveling anywhere, do tell. We would love to support you in your journey, literal or otherwise. Supported. Okay. Supported. This card represents integrity, courage, and being held. A mountain goat stretches across 2 boulders with a baby balanced on its back. Like this baby on the parent and like this parent on these rocks, you also need something solid and strong to hold. This is because you are attempting something brave. Your foundation may be the care of your friends and family, your relationship to the natural world, or mentors and ancestors that inspire you. This card encourages you to find stability through support. It is time to be wherever you feel most held. Working with this card, reconnect with what helps you feel held up by the earth. Remember that you are one node in a vast network and that you're not alone. That feels important because I feel like some people in this collective feel so alone, which is so valid because you've been doing a lot of things alone or processing something that only you can do. These goats may show that the path you're considering calls for both courage and support in order to find sure-footedness. This card may also be a nudge toward asking for help for something you haven't considered challenging. It may just be more fun to have a buddy. And the attunement messages for this card are channel mountain goat prowess in rocky situations, call on the ones that love you to offer you strength, plant yourself firmly. Remember that your courage is not just yours alone, but borrows from beloved friends, ancestors, animals, and the earth itself. And I feel like on the other side of whatever kind of big realization that you're having at this moment, again, you're being supported and you're being invited to ask for assistance and help and support. If I don't even want to say if, I say just do it, because it'll make your life so much better. To have that support gathered around you as you close a lot of these big, really long-standing cycles. There's something like unexpected glimmering at like the right side of my consciousness. Like something wants to come in and kind of, I just noticed it started snowing outside as I'm speaking right now. And you guys also pulled the Hermit in the reverse position. It's like, yeah, you're waking up. It's like the bear waking up in the springtime, like snow turning to rain, rain turning to the soft earth. Like it's like something is thawing. Wow, yeah, it's thawing, kind of. I'm feeling it in the heart, but there's something that's, I don't know if it's childhood trauma. That's probably true for a good number of people in this collective, and you're kind of seeing how that kind of seed that was planted at the beginning is kind of rippling and playing out through all of these other relationships and dynamics in your life years later. And so there's a thawing happening and being very gentle and supportive with yourself, being very sweet with yourself as you go through this process of meeting who you really are, which is a lot more powerful than you ever thought you were. I feel like for a lot of people in this collective, there's a lot of conditioning around needing to be small or needing to be nice or needing to be palatable, or associating power with danger, being powerful with enacting harm. And there's a way that you're just meeting your power in a very pure way where you're like, you're looking in the mirror and you're being like, fuck, like that's me. Like there's a way that you're able to back yourself a lot more after whatever experience you've gone through, because you've just been potentially brought to your knees. Like there are a lot of people in all 3 of these different readings with the Maiden, the Mother, and the Crone. A lot of us have gone through powerful initiations into who we really, really are by letting go of all these illusions of this like cemented fear energy, but it's just kind of falling off in the layers, like just. And get ready to meet. I don't know if this is like a creative project that you're starting, or for a lot of you it's love. There's an immense outpouring of love wanting to come into your life. And so sending this Crone collective lots of support. And it was so fun to do this reading. Sending you guys a lot of love as we honor this day of the Triple Goddess. And I hope whatever messages that you received today help you in having a greater level of trust in yourself and love in your heart, clarity in your mind, strength in your feet to keep walking the path that you're walking, because you're on the right path. So as always, lots of love, and have a lovely day.